What's up, y'all? All right. We are on the first day of a new cycle. It was a full moon yesterday, and we've released Arrival, the next piece in the Assyrian Odyssey. Yay! Pew, 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 pew. Epic, super fucking cool cycle chapter of life, man. I'm so grateful for it. I just did a bit of a written reflection, which I will include in the comments. That contextualized what I'm going to share in here, which really is just going to be a reiteration, and perhaps I'll discover some new things. So here we go. First off, I'd like to talk about the piece itself. Arrival. It used to be called Elias Vocal, and I had the sense to change it to Arrival because I knew people would mispronounce Elias Vocal. And Arrival had this context of just talking about the beat where the song started. The song began sampling the alien encounter of annihilation, and I feel like this has always been to me the epitome of like the coolest scene and thing to sample. And I made it back when I was in Liberty, and I just finished mastering it this scrum, and it's I love the piece. I think it's a great piece. I'm super excited about it. Obviously, there's a bunch of ways it could be better, blah, blah, blah. But the essence of the track is it starts with the first ships landed in the sea. We prayed that they would bring us peace, that they would care for the life of humanity. We've come from the throne shit away, yeah. Open from the under and ocean, the storm of gray, yeah. Black hole and it comes with gold. I stick my body in the river as a spell taking hold, yeah. I don't really want to see it through. I don't really want to see it through, cause I need you and I love you and I love to run. Wanna pick up the night and follow chemical ash tearing a hole in your sky. So it starts with this alien encounter, which is like, as I was creating it, is like these, I could see these visionary ships landing just above the sea, hovering, like primarily 3 of them just over the water as these monolithic Goliaths. And that's how the piece started. So Arrival felt super on point there because it was the mirroring of the foundation of the beat is the alien connection from Annihilation, which is absolutely one of my favorite movies. And then The Arrival is also the name of one of my other favorite alien encounter movies, which is all about learning this timeless language. So it starts this, and then it starts there, and then it goes into a total plot twist, which is all about like my experience of love, like feeling so in love, also recognizing that the love isn't conducive to, or the way that I was loving, it just wasn't supporting what I wanted to do in my life, in my work, and it's essentially like the other name that I was contemplating was sacrifice, and it's the sensation of like, I don't want to see this through. I don't want to give this up. I feel like, I love you and I need you, but I know that this is what needs to happen right now. And it came, the last song that I released, Shatter's Home 22, is really a song that just holds my heartbreak. And, I'm recognizing that these next 4 songs that I'm going to be releasing as singles and then tied together as their own EP, it's really, it holds the passage of heartbreak. It holds it came from a place where I was like totally fucking wrecked, like one of my greatest lows in life, and there have been a few good ones, but this one was the first time that I'd ever fully broken my faith in God and fully felt like I had to throw everything I loved in the fire. And music was the hardest thing to give up, and I felt like I had to give it up because there was just this sense that like everything was wrong. And yeah, it was like the sacrifice of the holy cow. You know, the thing that you love most, you give up to. It's kind of it's a classic thing in like the passage of enlightenment. It's a reoccurring theme and pattern that like to give up all of one's material possessions. And in this case, it felt like the greatest thing that I had. I was like A, heartbroken from relationship, and B, just felt like everything that had guided me into my own demise, and it was like a false god that I'd been following, including all of my passions and all of my visions for that which I wanted, I sought for my future. I felt like I had to let all of that go. And Shatter's Home 22 essentially comes in after I let everything go. I watch everything burn in the fire, then I just relax into the state of despair, and then again rises this call to do music and do it at a whole nother level of capacity, which first started from just like doing it as I felt to do it, and then it started with like, okay, now I'm doing Scrum, which is like I'm entering a new kind of production. God damn, I look sexy. I know. It turns me crazy. So that's where the Shatter's Home 22, the past release, began. Was like it was the first piece that I started the Scrum with, and first piece that I released since my last release, I think over a year ago. And it holds a scene. There's like one lyric in there that just holds a scene of my heartbreak, which is just real life, something that happened that I'm not gonna. Yeah, I've just kind of chosen not to like talk about a whole lot because I feel like it's contained there and does its job. Elias Vocal is, and the continuing EP is very much a processing of heartbreak, of a broken faith in God, and then a coming into a new light and coming into an embodied divine presence, which I feel the last song in this EP, possibly the last one, maybe Pak Mariah will go into it as well, but both kind of emanate the same frequency, which is all about embodying the divine throne inside of this kingdom that we all have access to. And Elias Vocal is like, or rather, Arrival is this unique juxtaposition or contrast that like doesn't make sense, but totally feels right to me, which is like the ship lands in the sea, and it's like, how do we relate to this God being? And Arrival is very much about like learning to relate to it by like giving myself full-heartedly to it. The ship being Azira itself, the ship being the opportunity to embody this dream, and what does it look like to live my life in a way where I arrange all of my energy around the full fruition of my creative potential and also the world's creative potential. And part of that is heart-wrenching. It's like Arrival holds this sense of like, I really don't want to do this, but I have to be a murderer to something that I love. I have to kill this thing that I love so dearly. And so it really does hold that touchstone of placing these things that I care about so dearly, including my call to music itself, in the fire, which I experienced months before I wrote this piece. And it's like a way. Arrival is very much like the ship's land, and it's like I want to give everything to learning this language, and part of that is releasing my attachment to what I have, so that I can be what I can be. Open my hands entirely to really receive this language. So that's a fundamental current that goes on in this track, Arrival. And it is the alien encounter. It is like, okay, how do we look at this thing and open ourselves to understand it from ears that before we did not know to hear. And part of this is the purge, it's the cleanse, it's the releasing, it's the becoming naked to what I've known so that I can create space to receive that which was once unknown, the discovery of new knowledge. So in all of my Scrum lunar creative cycles, 2-week periods with the full new moon, I will create a Milanote board. Milanote's a really cool program that allows me to arrange photos and visual elements together in a way that very much like maps kind of my thought flow. It feels like it's the best technology that I've found that allows me to create like writing and visuals and weave them together in a way that's like a vision board and sexy and moves me and allows me to discover. So every cycle I create a new board. And this time, in addition to creating the kind of board that I would usually create, which is just a collection and curation of things that I would write or quotes that I would curate or pictures that I would take and visuals that I'd find. In addition to that board, I also opened up this new board, which was like a surprise board. And this board holds fundamentally 3 elements. The first element is a prayer. Like one night I was just like deep, like sitting with the intention of like what I want this work to be, also what this work is. Like sitting with this alien intelligence of like how do I relate to this in the best way? And this long written passage of a prayer came through, and a fundamental current within it is just like I seek to create in a way which which nourishes myself, which nourishes this world, and catalyzes the full fruition and the embodied potential of all beings in all of creation, not just yes humans, yes earth, yes all the creatures upon it, and also like the seen and the unseen. So there's a prayer. Then there's also this Codex of Azira, which I started. It's actually, the writing is called the Codex of the Azirian Priest. And it's Codex to the Priests of Azira. And this codex is like a scientific study and documentation of, which is fundamentally looking at how can we live in a way which is in highest or best alignment with God, recognizing that there's no way to do it. One moment. Yo.
You never showed me that you called me back. It's so weird.
Oh, I did. I'm recording a video right now with myself. This is my sister. Can I call you right back afterwards?
Yeah.
Cool.
Call me back and text me if it doesn't ring for some reason, because I don't know why I didn't get it the first time.
Ciao. I am so sorry. What a bitch. Anywho. So Codex to the Priest of Azira is essentially, the Priest of Azira is essentially a recognition that Azira to me isn't just myself. It is this God force. It is this alien intelligence, this interdimensional being. And I am a practitioner. I am a priest. I'm learning. I'm a student. I am learning how to open my body, my vessel, my channel to hold, to wield, to be a practitioner of this current of intelligence that Azira is. And Codex to the Priest of Azira is, the priest is the monk, is the one who fully devotes their life to being a channel of God. And the Codex is really like a scientific study of like how do we do this in the best way, recognizing that there is no single formula, that this is a moving target, that our strategies are going to change, and with all of that in account, like what patterns are we seeing? It is a place to take note of the different trends that emerge and develop a continually evolving framework for how to be with life, how to be ourself, and also Azaira, to me there's something universal about the process of aligning to Azaira, because really I feel Azaira is just like the highest embodiment that I can be. It's the full fruition of my potential, and I feel like there's absolutely trends and patterns. Like, though yes, I'm extraordinarily unique and everyone is, we have a different, like, there's no one size fits all, and each person can learn keys from others, and these keys, these creative keys, these keys of evolution can be passed, knowledge can be shared. And so this codex is really something that I'm developing to just take note of what feels helpful and evolutionary for me. Let's see if I have any examples of things that I've written upon it. Well, an example might be I'm recognizing that as like for my musical pathway, it's really important for me to develop my voice. My fundamental element of my artistry is the vocals that I create. I've always felt like the production is always a means with which to create a space for the vocals to be received, shared, and delivered, and executed. And in order to do that, the voice is a muscle. From where I see the highest place for me to be is in daily communion with this muscle that is the voice, daily process of discovering how to open it, how to position myself, how to relax it, how to strengthen it, how to develop my ability as a musician to not just execute what I hear, but also hear more beautiful patterns, to write more meaningful and potent lyrics, or to just conduct this current of authentic expression and translate the presence in the most beautiful way. So it's important for me, and voice is obviously a muscle, guitar is a muscle. That's playing. To me, being an embodied performer, the word I have for that is Asaya. Asaya is like an archetypal figure in the mythology of Azaira, who is the embodied performer who shares the transmission of the Son of God every day. So that's Asaya, and then there's the production, the producer, the spice production, which I pull and rework the Dune mythology of like this whole practice of what we're doing with Scrum, what we're doing with creating these pieces from scratch, tuning and tailoring them, receiving, shaping them, and then mastering them to bring them to their full potential is like the Dune spice refinery. These production machines going out into the desert dunes, dropping down, extracting the spice, packaging the spice, which to me is like the authentic essence of the presence, and delivering it to the multiverse, to the galaxy, to everyone, right? So the embodied performer is one foundation, and the other one is the production, which is another foundation, which is also an infinite thing, like also something that I always want to be studying, and I am, and this chapter was a mastering chapter for sure. This next chapter going to be a little different. This next chapter, I'm going back into a song that I've yet to finish. It's a collaborative piece with a friend who's an amazing musician, and this song's like I want to say I don't know, when did we start it? Before April. I want to say we started it April, May, June, July, October. Yeah, 4 months old, something like that. So I'm dipping my hands back into this piece that we started a while ago, and he's sent me a rendition, an updated rendition of something that I did. So we have been having this creative conversation and collaboration back and forth, sending this piece. Started together, now it's digital, and the ball's in my hands now, and so it's time to. I feel like I can finish it. I feel like I can bring it home. So that's my goal on this next cycle coming up, is to finish this piece, and who knows, maybe it'll be a part of the EP. And if it is a part of the EP, let's see where it goes. Let's see how it wants to unfold, right? Okay, so there's that. This cycle was super dope. A few things that I learned when it comes to the mastering process. It was very challenging for me to arrive, especially at the beginning of the week. It feels like mastering can be a very overwhelming thing for me. It's not something that I find comes naturally or intuitively. It takes a lot of effort for me to sit down with something and do all of this fine tweaking that mastering and mixing and mastering is. And an aspect of that, so when things are overwhelming for me, it's kind of like, as I've been in Atlanta, I've been experiencing these waves of just super intense emotion, whether it's from something that's tangible or something that's intangible. A big thing that I've been learning is just how to be gracious with myself and soft with myself, gentle with myself, and just when these waves come, just let them come. Like take the time that I need for my being to go through the process that it needs to go through without being hard on myself, which I can be, like feeling like I'm not doing enough. So just being really gracious with myself and soft and gentle has been a reflection that I heard from the women that I've reached out to that are close to me in my life, who just reflect like, it's okay, it's okay. Just be gentle with yourself, and applying that has been helpful. It allows me to go through my process and then stand up afterwards and kind of be recharged. And I do find that there's a presence of new vitality. Like when I let myself go there, it's like I go down and I get knocked out, and it's like being held under the water by the force of a tsunami. It's just unrelenting. But I do find that when I stand up afterwards, there's a vitality that is sourced from going into that darkness, for lack of a better term. And gentleness for me is something that allows me to just be there fully without resisting or fighting it, feeling like I should be somewhere else. So on this mastering process, when I did get overwhelmed, there were some days that I just didn't show up to the plate, and I was just like, I feel fucked right now. I'm hella depressed, and I'm just gonna let myself watch TV today. And there's some part of me that's like, fuck that. But it's really been a beautiful gift to just allow myself the time and the space to do nothing, to rest. Even though I feel like sometimes I don't, if I'm gonna rest, I want to deserve my rest. And sometimes I don't feel like I've deserved my rest when my body clearly needs it. So it's detaching from that judgment of what it means to deserve rest, and just be with what I need to do and be as I need to. So that was the start of the scrum. It was really challenging in that sense, and that's just been a current of my past few months here. And it's just part of my life, to be honest. It's familiar terrain. It's something that I continue to experience, and just part of me. And I feel like it's also where a big part of where my music comes from, even though I don't necessarily fully understand it. It's my relationship to darkness isn't a comfortable one, but it's so integral. And in the context of this last piece, Arrival, it's like when the ship arrives, when the alien intelligence presents itself, like I say, teach me, like open me, guide me to know you. And it responds in extraordinary, beautiful, magnificent psychedelic visions, and it also responds in just these fucking unrelenting tsunamis of emotion that are very challenging. And I find the key is to welcome it all to the table and learn how to relate to this whole spectrum. So with mastering, as I find myself just like being gentle, I was able to arrive to the mastering. I had to push back the date that I wanted to finish it on. Because of processing, I like to finish my masters at least a week before they go out. This round, I wasn't able to do that, and I just had to be like, okay, it's okay. I'm gonna just push it back. And if it doesn't launch right on the full moon, it doesn't launch right at the full moon. It did actually launch on the full moon, even though I didn't get it a week before. But then once I listened to it, I was like, no, fuck, the mix is off. The vocals are too soft here and here, and I gotta redo it. And so today I actually deleted the track that I'd uploaded. I tweaked it, and I uploaded it again, and I think I'll like this one more. I already do. So that's another emanation of the gentleness. I have this thing where I want to release everything on the full moon, like right when it hits the full moon. That's when I release. And that didn't happen. That's okay. I have an ideal, I shoot for it, and then we land where we like. Shoot for perfection, settle for excellence. Shoot for the stars, land on the moon. Still out of the fucking stratosphere, you cunt. Cool. What I'm finding as I engage this mastering protocol, my next ideal thing that I'd like to strive for is rather than doing a bunch of tracks and then feeling like I have to just spend the next months mastering, I want to integrate mastering as a part of my creation process. So I'm just mastering as I go. As I finish, I'm mixing it in a way where it's like easy for me to master. And part of that is really about understanding what the mastering process is, which first started as a very mystical thing, and I'm demystifying it by developing a protocol, like a workout regimen, like a process that I can put any track through where I do this, 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 and this, and then it's uplifted, upgraded, it's ready to launch. So I feel like this week, this cycle was a big demystified process. Even though I've mastered a bunch of tracks, it's like I feel like now I'm just beginning to be like, oh, okay, this is the process I will walk these tracks through. And just make it a little bit better. That's my goal. And louder. So I have that production protocol more outlined than it's been, and more understood than it's been. And the next thing, so that's key. Another thing that I'd like to share about is just real quick. I saw 2 live shows this past weekend. Not this one, but the one before last. And the first one was Royal and the Serpent. I've never been in a room where the audience or a group of people loved a single individual so much. It was so touching. It was very clear that as everyone in the crowd was singing her lyrics, I went by myself to both of these events, basically. As the people were singing her music, it was so clear that she has profoundly changed these people's lives. Like, the way that they screamed for it is just like so indicative of thank you. Like, I cherish you. Your work has helped me embrace, love, and accept myself in such a major way. And it demonstrated to me the power of music and art and creativity, and it gives me a northern star of that which I want to do. Royal and the Serpent is a woman who's very connected to her darkness. It's like she comes from the emotional gutter where mental health is very challenging, and she's a huge support to and love to the LGBTQ community, and she sticks up for them. She stands for them and for us, and I find that so beautiful. And it demonstrates what I want to do. And I could also feel as I was listening to her, like what she's doing is reaching so intimately inside of her truth and sharing that. And I can, as I hear her and feel her, I can feel myself doing the same, recognizing that it takes a very different form than her, but it's like that's in me too. And so it gives me something to move towards. A few days after that, Beauty School Dropout came through Atlanta, and I hit up my buddy Bardo, who's in the band. He's the guitarist and he's producer, and he got me on the list, and I went out to dinner with him beforehand. He's the most successful musician that I know, and I hadn't seen him in a while or talked to him in a long time, like many years. But it was so cool to just get to drop in with him. It was so inspiring to me, and I got to learn about his process and his journey and just kind of get the inside scoop. And I got to go backstage and meet his band, and I just felt like all of the guys he was in a band with, like I felt so connected with, like kindred spirits. And it's rare for me to meet people where I'm like, wow, I really fuck with you. You're super dope. We could be great friends. And I felt that with each member of his band. Like, I would love to hang out with these guys. And I felt their love for me, in a similar way. Just a sense of you're welcome here. And, these eyes that also had such great hunger, and the call to express, to be themselves, to discover and push all of the boundaries and all of the borders and do something totally new, make something, right? So I loved meeting them. I feel like I learned a lot from Bardo in our conversations of just like what it takes to do this thing called music and art and creation and business, to marry the two, to build something from nothing and to connect with the world. They're on their first headlining tour. So it was very informative. I got to be in my first pre-show band huddle where all the members of the band get together, put their hands in and say some words. And that was cool. That was the first time that I got to do that, and just that felt like transmission. Where I got to steep my psyche, my awareness in the kind of experience that I'm magnetizing towards me. It felt like such a good omen and such a gift from God. I didn't know until that day that they were going to be in Atlanta. So I was so touched. Epic cycle. Really looking forward to this next round. Happy to be here with you, cherishing this experience, loving this journey, and just continuing on. May the force be with you as you fly. Fuck yeah. Let's get it, baby.